Hi, my name is Marcia Jews. Welcome to STEM City USA's coverage of the Women of Color STEM Conference. Through all 3 days, we will be bringing you incredible interviews with inspiring STEM pioneers leading the way in industry, government, academia, and around the world. And now, please welcome our next guest.
Hi, I'm Dr. Scyatta Wallace, and I'm the CEO and founder of Janisaw Company and the creator of Women in STEM Leadership Series. One fun fact about me is that I love photography. I love taking photos like this one over here. I love creating family photo albums. I even love to go to the museums to check out photography exhibits and just relaxing and looking at photos in a magazine. These are all things that I adore about photography.
Welcome, Scyatta. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. I'm sitting here. You mean I got to be over here? Girl, they got me going all this. I go here, got over here. How you doing?
I'm
good. So you're an award-winning psychologist. What made you decide to go into psychology?
Oh, wow, that is a good question. I actually went to college as a pre-med, and I really loved science a lot, and I really thought that I was going to go into the medical field, but I always knew I wanted to do the research side. So I thought I was going to do like an MD, PhD combined. And but my parents always encouraged me to take the classes that I loved, and so I got an interest in just taking some psychology classes. But I still thought MD, PhD. And my junior year, I started volunteering for an organization. And it was something about connecting with those young people and really just seeing how they were growing and trying to understand more about where they were coming from and how it was impacting them. And I started to connect that with my classes, my psych classes. And I thought, wow, I think this is it. I think I want to do something that has more to do with like people and research, the combination. And so I did a research senior thesis with a psychologist. She was a developmental psychologist, so she wasn't mental health. She was focused on the research side. And that's when I realized this is it.
It clicked.
It clicked.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it from there.
Mm-hmm. And so with that, how did you move through all of this and work with STEM?
Mm-hmm.
How did STEM come into the play? Because you started doing a lot of work in that whole area.
Yeah, it came as more of like my passion, right?
Okay.
Because I was a researcher and I experienced a lot of things as a researcher, a woman of color researcher. And I was very successful though in my career. I got a lot of grant funding and I was able to receive tenure and move through the ranks. But I just saw that a lot of the women that I was around, either my mentees, even my peers, even some women that were senior, there were so many barriers and things we were struggling with. And I just got really passionate about volunteering on different STEM education pipeline issues, career development pipeline issues, and realizing that it wasn't just about technical skills.
Right.
We need that support. We need the community to support us through navigating those challenges.
Mm-hmm. And so in your community, how do you shape those who are in your circle of influence?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I think it's important for connecting to the human spirit, right? You want to know, who are you for real? Who are you without the titles, without whatever it is that you know, all your degrees and that kind of stuff? Who are you? And really connecting with that. And then also making it okay for whoever you say you are, you know what I mean?
Whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's where you start at that level, where it's like we're going back to the basics of like connecting to who we are as human beings, so that we can see we all have good days and we all have days when times are really, really tough, and we all have times when we're not the best person to other people,
Right.
So we connect that way. We can go to each other for support when we realize that we're all like in that same place.
How do you create your circle of influence?
Some of it is divine guidance, where it's like, I don't necessarily know this is going to be my circle of influence, but it just keeps coming. And then some of it is a little bit more me thinking about what is it that I need, and really reaching out to go and get that, whether it is a circle of influence of people I don't even know.
Right.
And I'm reading about them and paying attention to interviews they're doing, or I am really trying to reach out and connect and get to know them a little bit more.
Mhm. And it's getting to know them that creates an environment where the comfort
Mhm.
falls in place. That if you don't know somebody in real depth,
Mhm.
it's hard to open up your heart
Yeah.
to that person.
Yeah.
How do we spend time getting to know one another in an era where we have what do you call it? We have the internet. So the internet has created this new barrier that takes away that closeness, the touch,
Mhm.
the hug,
Mhm.
right? That eyeball to eyeball connection has changed. How do we navigate that?
Mhm. It's tough. It's really tough, especially for I actually came up in the era without the internet. So
You're
I'm
not
from
that
the I'm definitely before the internet. And so I remember that, right? So I still have that to go from. But those who don't, it's very difficult because you don't know what that's about. But I would say starting small and just trying to have some time where you're connecting with people without with offline and seeing how that makes you feel, and then doing it a little bit more and a little bit more. So it could be at the grocery store where you're making sure that you're speaking to the clerk, or it could be when you're opening the door for someone and you just look them in the eyes. And it's hard sometimes because if you're having a hard day, you may not want to look at somebody in the eye because they can see you're having a hard day. But when you do that, sometimes the window opens and you realize, wow, I feel better because I did that. Or I know I made them feel better because I did that. And I think because we're human, it expands. It gets infectious to be able to do that.
And it flourishes.
Yeah.
So, in looking at your career, what made you decide to go to Yale University to get your PhD?
Okay. That was not a decision. That was a divine guidance.
Oh yeah.
That was not a decision. I was applying to a number of different schools, and I got a postcard in the mail that said, consider applying to Yale. And I said, really? Are you serious? Am I really going to do that? And I said, well, if they sent me something, then maybe I should, and that's what did it. It was really just the fact that they were doing a very good job of reaching out to students who were either economically disadvantaged or students of color, and saying you belong here too, right? And so that allowed me to realize that, wow, you know what, I could try. And so that's another one of the things that I'm very passionate about. It's like, don't just decide that something isn't there, you're not up to it for something. Just try. If it's something that you really think you could go towards, just go ahead and give it a try, because you just never know.
And too often, we're the first ones to say, "Oh, I can't."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, if that's not for me.
Yep.
But we don't really realize what the full potential, if we don't try to do this.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
The full potential, and also sometimes we don't even see the underlying talents that we have. We may not have all the skill sets, we may not have all the information, but we may have other things: tenacity, perseverance, creativity, innovation, people skills.
Right.
Like, those are the things that actually really kind of help you thrive in your career, especially as you move higher and higher in the ranks. And so we don't realize until we actually get there that, wow, I was built for this,
And I like that statement. I was built for this.
Yeah.
And when you talk about being built for this, there's an intestinal fortitude that gets you to that next place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you got to believe in what you're hearing to go there.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that could be frightening.
A lot of time, most of the times. Anytime you're doing something that you haven't done before, it's uncomfortable, it's going to feel frightening. Right.
And it's okay.
Right. That's it. Everybody feels it. You just got to keep going, just keep going and trust yourself enough. We talked about that in our session. Trusting yourself enough that you've come this far, wherever that this is,
right, that
you will be able to get further again, because you're learning and you're growing to the next stage. You have.
How do you push through? What is your mechanism?
Prayer, definitely prayer.
You like that?
Yes. Gratitude. Thinking about the things that have really graced me. Sometimes it's big stuff, like getting into Yale, and sometimes it's small stuff like, what, I got here today. Everything was on time. I wasn't freezing. I had my hat, like just little things.
Right.
And then that helps because it's like it's little bits of energy that kind of help you kind of get through your day or your week or your year. That gratitude really helps. And
it's
surrounding.
critical.
Oh, very critical. Because you can look around and
And
think,
see, we don't really realize how critical those decisions, how they'll take you where you want to go. And I believe in my first mind. Right? What does my first mind say?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's through that has gotten me to places I never would have dreamt of being.
Yeah, that first mind, because the first mind is who you really are without all the fear stuff. It's like, yeah, it's like the first thing, and then you go for it. And sometimes it may not be the exact place you're supposed to be, but it'll take you to the place. It's the other route. So yeah, you're so right. That first mind.
And not all roads lead to the Mecca, right? So we got to also be intentional when we make those moves as well to see where we're going, making sure that that's the absolute destination.
Yeah, the destination in terms of how it feels,
right?
Not how it sounds, not what other people think, but how
it's
it
in
feels.
your spirit. It's in your spirit. And people have said to me, because I've done some crazy stuff. I met some. So this is a job that I did, right? Oh, you're gonna fall out loud. So in Washington D.C., we had a circuit on Friday nights. So you go to Whole Gates, then you go to the Channel Inn, then you go over to the 16-mile house, whatever. I mean, they're so good. You spend so much time in each one of those, and then you end up at Desiree in the Four Seasons. So, but I got there early, and so there was a couple sitting. Jim and Sonny Hester were sitting at the bar in Whole Gates. And we were just polite, hey, how you doing? And start talking, whatever. And then the next Friday, they were there. And the next Friday. And so finally, I was like, what y'all do? What you down here sitting? And there's a lot of black folks that go to Channel Inn, right? And he said, because we like it. We like the view. You got the water over there. And then we kept talking. And the following week, he brought me a stack of magazines. He said, this is what we do. Have you ever done something like that? And I said, no. He said, would you like to do something like that? Oh, wow. I said, I guess so. Tell me more. And he did. And he hired me on the spot. And I became a vice president of the Amphibious Warfare Review magazine. Wow. And the director, vice president of the Modern Day Marine Force and Readiness Military Exposition. And it's still going on. I'm no longer there. But that exposition is still going on. I don't have a degree. And I was running a multi-million-dollar business.
I mean, that's incredible.
That's real.
Yes, that is real.
Right?
Yeah.
Sitting there talking mess, being kind.
Yeah.
Being kind. And we don't know what we don't know. We don't know who you are. We can't make a decision about you based on how you sit there. They were sizing me up. And what they saw, I've never done some military. I'm not a military person. I'm not the tanks and the helicopters and the short takeoff and landing vehicles. But it was during that place that showed me that I can do whatever I want to do. And God is my witness. The work that I've done has been incredible. And only God, the Lord, could get me here.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah. It is amazing. And so we have to believe in ourselves. And we have to see ourselves, and we have to see our value, not somebody else's idea of what my value is. It's what my idea of my value. And if we can believe in ourselves, we can do anything we want.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get caught in that chasm that we question who we are, and we don't need to. And if you have to get to a place where you have to question all that, that's not where you belong.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Because that doubt is telling you something. It's like the energy is not, it's not enough. Yeah. You're
And
not
it's
in your
huge.
space. Yep.
It's huge. And it's about you loving you and taking the steps. I used to run this company, Career Communications Group. I ran into Tyrone with my husband and his wife in the little place they had, the private little thing at the airport. He had me come over there and he hired me just from a conversation. You never know who you're talking to. You never know what they do.
No.
But you have to be, I call it being open to the universe.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And that's what's real.
Yes.
And believing in yourself that you can do whatever the Lord puts in you.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think part of the problem or challenge is giving yourself time to be with yourself so that some of the other noise that will tell you that you're not good enough, that you have to do this, that you have to do that, because that will keep you from hearing that you are enough. That will keep you from realizing, oh, this is it. Because you're hearing all that noise, you
Right.
got to make
I
that
call it
space.
background
Yeah,
noise.
it's a lot.
It's like buzzing. It's buzzing all in the way. You can't even hear what you're trying to get out your mouth. Right?
Yeah.
And we have to believe in ourselves. And if we have an opportunity, we are obliged to see what it means.
Yes. Right. Because why else are we here?
You have to be obliged. Tell me 3 things that you wish you had done differently.
You know, I'm going to answer your question, but I will say this, that I don't believe that, because everything leads you to something, right? And I believe that the things that we go through allow us to become better. It pushes you to have either more determination or be kinder to yourself or other people. And so for me, it's like I wouldn't have necessarily done anything differently, because I don't think those parts of my character and my values would have been grown. But I will say that I do believe that I would have probably pursued what I'm doing now in terms of working on leadership with women sooner.
Okay.
I think that I would have done it sooner than now if I were going to change something and do it differently in that way, because I believe that who knows how much time we have, right? So for me, it's like,
and none of it promised.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to go ahead and make those moves while you can, because it's already been put in your spirit.
Yeah.
So why aren't you doing it?
Yeah. So that's for me. It took COVID and the pandemic and all of that for me to just say, whoop, this has been on my spirit. I need to just get up and do it. And that's what it is. So that's why I know I could have probably done it sooner, but I wouldn't change that, because that was the path.
Because everything happens in time and in order, the way it's
I had to build something somewhere in myself to get to this.
Yes.
That's what it was.
And that's a critical, what's the word I want to use? That's a critical assessment, because you have to dig sometimes deep to see where you're really trying to go. And sometimes the deeper you dig ain't as easy as you think.
No. It ain't. It ain't. It could be tough, but it's necessary.
And that's real. That's real. And so when we look at the next 10 years, what's your long range
plan? My long range plan is wherever I'm supposed to be. But more specifically, I really, really desire for more women, particularly women of color, to recognize how much of leaders we are. And when I say leaders, I'm not talking titles. I'm really talking about you owning yourself, just like you said, that confidence, and you recognizing that you have something to bring to this world. I really mean world. I don't just mean like a small community, the entire world. I really do desire to have something to do with whatever that shift is in mindset and like actions in our communities and with women in STEM.
And you speak of the communities, we've got to be involved. We've got to be involved. There's some real work that needs to be done. And I don't know that all of our politicians are privy and capable of doing the work that really needs to be done.
No. Everyone has their own place. And my personal belief is that some of the work that needs to be done is so deep, particularly in communities of color and for women, that, really political stuff and policies is not going to really get at it.
Right.
It really is a lot of healing that has to occur. It has a lot of shifts have to happen in terms of what people think they can and should be doing. And that requires, like you said, that human touch. So
human touch is critical. It really is. All right, Doctor, thank you so much.
Thank you. I really
Appreciate
enjoyed
it. So
this
we're going to see you next
conversation.
year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Dr. Scyatta Wallace.